Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for an upper body day. And I started off with pretty easy training max. Went up a little heavier. Normally I do 315 on these. I decided to just do 325 today. And keeping in mind when I do these, it's not intended to be a true max. Obviously I can rep this. But the goal is I'm trying to grip these really, really wide. I'm almost to the J hooks. Try to do at least a 2 to 3 second pause. I want it pretty flat back, all that stuff, right? So again, trying to build pecs. And so what I decided to do, because again, these are my main exercises, I'm looking at this going, look, I need to stop thinking about all the arm impact of my pull-ups and my benching, and let's just make sure we're building the big muscles, right? Because I'm doing separate arm work. And I think one of the reasons I haven't always built the arms that I want is nothing to do with the benching or the pull-ups or the chin-ups or anything. It really does come down to me focusing on the actual quality of sets now, right? Actually putting real effort into my curls and things and treating them like a super serious exercise, pushing them as hard as I do my deadlift, okay? And I've made videos on that before. So I did the same thing on the pull-ups. I'm like, look, I've gone a little bit over to chin-ups. I'll do my wide grip pull-ups and go to chin-ups for a couple weeks. But I feel like right now I get so much back development out of the pull-ups. And since I'm not doing rows at the moment, I'm really just doing 2 big exercises and then we focus on the other stuff. All right, we go to all our isolation movements. I need to make sure that this fully develops my back. And this right here does a ton for my back, right? Getting that stretch at the bottom, that really wide grip. Occasionally people will ask, hey, you know, what's up at the top? And then other people chime in like, no, dude, those are like those Franco Colombo ones. You're not gonna be able to touch your chest with it. You're just not. The 95% of people will not be able to do it. Like your full contraction almost looks like a partial. And that's okay, go try it, guys. If you think I'm lying, give it a try. But grip it as wide as I am. The back development is phenomenal from it though, the back activation. And that's why I like doing them that way. I really like doing those that way because I feel so much lat. I feel so much like mid-trap, posterior delt. Again, it's and the grip training is great on it. So the benching, I decided again the same thing. Instead of working with the heavier weights for 6s, let's try to go back up to 10s. Because I did 10s on all the pull-ups, right? We did 10s on this. Again, let's focus on building the chest, building the back, and then we'll let the arm work handle the arms. And that's something I've realized more and more as a coach. I don't think we always need to be taking our big movements and saying, well, do I need my big exercise to focus on my weakest links, or I need it to build what it's supposed to build? We can always isolate and just train our other muscles harder, right? This is why we do isolation movements anyways, right? To take your weak links and to make sure that we are hammering them hard. So that's what I did. Again, I'm pushing the other stuff real hard. I push it real hard. But these sets were hard. All of these were hard sets. In fact, the last set of bench, I really couldn't even get the 10. I was fatigued enough from this that I just didn't have 10 reps in me. It's like, man, I got there and it felt grindy and had to rack it. So the pull-ups, though, I did manage to get my 10 on all of them. And a lot of those, that last rep, I like to hang just a little bit longer. But again, the back pump I get from this is great, right? It's great. You know, and then people are I've had a few people ask, well, hey, you know, what are you doing with the rear delts? What about traps? I'm like, I do laterals, right? That handles that. Keep in mind, though, a pull-up works the traps. It's actually a pretty good trap exercise. Let's not forget that. And I think that's a point people miss. But, you know, look at what I'm doing on deadlifts. I mean, I did a set of 10 with 445 on my deadlifts the other day, right? So I'm doing rep work on the deadlifts and stuff too. That does put extra stress in all that area. But what people need to remember, I'm also doing these other movements and I'm doing pullovers. So a lot of things are getting hit with a second lift. Overall, I mean, realistically, this is a very complete upper body workout. Even though the volumes might seem minimal, they're still pretty reasonable. Right? They're pretty reasonable. Try to make sure I get at least 10 sets for every muscle group. But the thing is, I want these to be hard sets. So those extensions, that's everything I have. Same thing with the curls. I'm even pausing at the bottom on these, to again make sure I'm not cheating anything out of the bottom. And I went with the slightly wider grip on this today because as I've experimented with the grips, here's the thing I notice as far as what I feel. I can sometimes move a little more weight with the closer grip. I really like that for cheat curls because of that. But I feel the bicep more when I go a hair wider, right? And I've even gone wider than this before. And that's the thing that I'm looking for. Trying to take that bicep to failure. And a lot of those I'm getting to that last rep where I can't get another one out of the bottom. So I just try to move it and it doesn't move. If it doesn't move without me cheating it, because a lot of times you guys will see me just stop at the bottom for a second, but you may not realize I'm trying to do another curl. And if that weight doesn't move without me cheating it, even if I used a little bit of body English on the one before, if it doesn't move, then I've hit failure, right? The weight just doesn't move. There we go, we're at muscle failure. But I'm also taking those, little breaks at the bottom to make sure that it's a quality set. And it works great. Felt a ton of bicep. Happy with that. Same thing with these extensions. These extensions are always hard. I struggle to get that 10th rep sometimes on some of those. It's like I feel like I'm not going to get it. You guys have seen me fail on the 10th rep before. Those are 0 rep and reserve sets. And my triceps are sore from those. So just doing that 3 sets, the last workout, my triceps were still sore last night. So I did it on Thursday. I still had some tricep DOMs on Sunday. It was finally gone this morning. So those work phenomenally well. And that's the same thing with the curls. I did have some DOMs for a couple days. So I want to see the difference though when I do a pull-up and then do these curls. I want to see if I still get DOMs. But that's the thing. Instead of, and this is what I find, me trying to just do tons of pump work for the arms doesn't work. Me pushing quality sets to where I really focus on pushing that muscle to the limit on every set. I think that's what's going to work for me because I felt my biceps were actually doing good when I did cheat curls. I would do cheat curls again, except I just don't want the cries of the internet. There may become a point where I'm just like, you know what, I don't care. Because honestly, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, even though a lot of these movements I do feel biceps, when I think back when I've done the really heavy cheat curls, I feel my biceps more than on the strict stuff. I really do. And it's probably because of the eccentric loading, right? It's probably the eccentric loading. These felt really good though. Like again, I felt a ton of bicep tension, felt the bicep muscles really fatigue, right? Felt them really fatigue. Had someone ask me before though, does this work your traps? It's almost a trap. It's like, no, I don't feel anything in my shoulders. I don't feel anything at all on any of these. I feel only bicep and brachialis, a little bit of forearm. Right? It's the only place I feel it when I do curls like that. All right, pullovers. Decided to go a little heavier. These were easy for 12, so I decided to go up to 2 plates. The problem is when I went to 2 plates, it got a little difficult because I slid too far down the bench. So next time I'm going to make sure I'm a little more centered on the bench so that I can counterbalance myself a little better. But this felt good. I'm like, let's see if we can get some real weight on these pullovers. Let's, again, stop treating them like the pre-ab exercise when I was doing them before. Because I came in here this last time, I'm like, let me try a set all out. In the 45, I got 25 reps. It's like, we got to put some weight on here. Felt pretty good when I went nice and heavy. Again, the only issue was a little bit of the counterbalancing. So I did 2 sets of pullovers and then I did 2 sets of laterals to failure. And that's enough. Because I've done all the other work, this is just to finish the shoulders, right? And I can do 1 to 3 sets, it doesn't matter. Just want to finish off the shoulders, make sure, get a little bit of cap delt out of it. But I feel like delts aren't really a weak link for me. I mean, if you guys look there, you can see the angles. My shoulders are not really a weak link. They could stand to get bigger. We can never really have, I don't think, side delts that are too big. Probably not possible. My arms really do need the most work. I do need the work. So that's, again, I'm going to really focus on those arm sets. But even the pullovers, keep in mind, they hit the long head of the tricep. So the reason I'm doing the pullovers is the shoulder mobility allowed me to start doing pull-ups again from these, but it gives me a easy to recover from single joint exercise, right? I know that's where we get into isolation versus single joint. I mean, if we call single joint an isolation, then this is technically an isolation exercise for the pecs and lats, right? Only one joint moves. But yeah, I'm working the pecs and lats from a different angle, but it does hit that long head of the tricep, which we know needs to come up for me. Needs to come up. So it kind of hits a couple points for me. Continuing to work that weak link. Help with the mobility and give me a second exercise for the lats and the pecs. So I don't just do one, so I can kind of try to get to that 10 sets a week. But very, very happy with today's workout. I was really happy with it. Everything felt great. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.